lovely folks of YouTube, it's Ren here. It is 65 degrees right now in lovely Virginia where my garden is. Unseasonably warm, but I thought since it was so warm here in this January day that we would take advantage to give you a little brief tour of the garden just to kind of give you an idea of what my working space is. A lot of things are going to look like they're dead and dormant, despite the fact that I'm here in my short sleeves. Most of them are still asleep because they know better. There are a few that are popping out. They don't know better, but hopefully they won't get nipped in the bud too bad when the inevitable cold does come. Just wanted to give you a look here. So behind me, this is the south-facing fence. You can see I have my contorting hazel here, and also my bird bath and bird feeder butting up onto my neighbor's yard. Behind me on the other side here on my house, we're going to kind of kneel down here. This is my cold frame underneath the little bay window of my house, and you can see here are some of the more tender plants that I'm winterizing back here. Those are two cuttings from a black elder that I'm growing for a friend of mine, and then behind that is my clary sage that I'm just trying to protect a little bit from the elements. I also have some seeds that I'm cold stratifying in this. We don't have a lot of cold right now, but hopefully they will get some cold to cold stratify. We shall see. You can see my deck here. Right next to my deck, this is actually close to my kitchen back door as well. Yep, that's not going to work here. There we go. So this is where I grow a lot of my kitchen herbs. I'm doing this without a selfie stick on my phone. I apologize if the quality is a little scattered here. I've tried a few times to get this right, but things just weren't working out without me being able to see what I was doing. So this is where I grow my kitchen herbs because it's closest to my kitchen door. It's easiest for me to go out and grab them. So I have things like my spearmint, my basil, my chives, my marjoram. I do have some lemon balm as well that I can grow here. It also volunteers itself readily elsewhere because lemon balm's an a-hole. You can see back behind me here, up against the east side of my yard, that's my shed, which does need to be replaced. And then over here, I have my vegetable beds behind me. There are 4 in total. Each one is about 4 foot by 8 foot. The first 2 is where I grow my warm weather plants, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, eggplants, those sorts of things. The third one back there, you can actually see there's a little bit of rutabaga that still needs to be harvested in there. Behind the rutabaga, I also have some parsley and scallions that I can theoretically harvest throughout the winter time. And then a bunch of weeds that I might dig out in a little bit and plant some lettuce seed there. The 4th bed behind that is actually a permanent bed. That's where I grow my asparagus and my rhubarb. So we're just kind of walking out towards the northeast corner of my yard here. I do have a fire pit here in the middle of my yard. Oh, let's see if we can get a good shot of it there. There it is. So it's just got a little bit of weeds and some wood scraps in it that eventually when I start a fire I will start burn those with. Fire pits are always fun in the summertime. We love to do s'mores in our house. We are a house of Girl Scouts, so we are all about the campfires. I have 3 apple trees that you can see, 1, 2, and then the 3rd one is a ginormous monster there. Those 2 itty-bitty ones that are behind me now, those are 2 cultivars that I just bought recently. One is an Arkansas Black, the other is an Albemarle Pippin. The 3rd tree is actually an experiment where my daughter tried to grow an apple tree from seed when she was in kindergarten and succeeded, and which then left me obligated to plant it. So that one's actually been here for over a decade. The other 2 are fairly new. They've just been planted within the past year. Here we're coming around onto the north side of my deck and the north side of my house. This is where all the magic happens, people. So you can see I have some of my plants that are winterized behind me, the ones that are wrapped up in burlap. That tall one there is my Camellia sinensis, or tea plant. That is actually where we get tea from, like green tea, black tea, all of that. That comes from that plant. I haven't harvested any yet. It hasn't been big enough for me to be willing to harvest anything off of it, but hopefully in the future, once it actually gets bigger, I can actually grow my own tea. The other 3 smaller ones that are winterized are just my gardenias. They just really don't like the frost. I used to just kind of leave them be, and then they'd always die back down to the ground and pop up and only grow up to about a foot tall every year. Since I've started actually winterizing them, they've actually gotten tall, like the way they're supposed to. So behind me you can see there's a little patio area there. That's where I like to put my little chair out in the summertime and just kind of soak up the sun. I have my 2 pots here behind me that are the ones that I still leave out in the winter time. So this little guy here is my rosemary. My rosemary does prefer to get a little bit of cold. I have it in a pot because too much cold will kill it, so I do like to be able to bring it in during the coldest nights, but otherwise I do tend to leave it outside because it does better with a little bit of cold. It will actually bloom for you in the late winter, early spring. This other pot that looks like it's empty is not. It actually has horseradish in it. It's just dormant right now. The roots are all under the ground, just waiting to be harvested, and then whatever I don't harvest will pop up again in the spring and grow me all more horseradish next year. I have that in a pot because it is a very, very, very unruly plant, and don't grow it in the ground, people. That's all I'm going to say. You can see my little slate walkway. On either side of that walkway, just sort of all over back and forth in this whole bed, is basically where I grow a lot of my witchy herbs. Those poisonous plants tend to be more shade loving, and this is the shadier part of my yard. Being on the north side of the house casts more shade on this side of the yard. So this is where I've grown my datura, my foxglove, my elderbush is there in the corner. It just looks like a big pile of sticks right now, but it will leaf out in the summertime and look gorgeous. I'm hoping to grow some aconitum or monkshood back here next year. That's one of the seeds I have cold stratifying currently. I also have vervain and mugwort and comfrey and, oh, look at this little guy down here. Hang on, let's see if we can get him in there. This is my pulmonaria or lungwort, and you can see he's being fooled by that warm weather. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Not supposed to be blooming now. Hellebores are back here. And then this little space back here, basically where I'm sitting right now, is where I tend to meditate. I have a little space here. And then behind me, you can kind of see, there it is. I have a little bench that I will sit on as well, way back up against the fence there that leads kind of onto my other neighbor's property. In front of that space, you can see, like over my shoulder right there, there's a big mossy area right there. That area I'm planning on digging out and putting a water feature of some sort, just a little mini pond and maybe a waterfall or a bubbler, depending on how ambitious I am. I have all the supplies I need. That's part of what I got as my Christmas gift from my mom, was the pump and the tubing and everything that I need to build the pond. Now I just actually need to get off my butt and do it. So we'll see whether that happens this year. So there's my garden in a nutshell. We'll be seeing a little more close-up of particular areas as I come out here in the springtime to work on different plants and different things of that nature. So look forward to it, and I'll see you soon.